Hello everyone, and welcome to one of the Digital Transformations live series episodes. I'm Soofastaei, an AI program leader in Valley. Our live interviews have been designed to develop the knowledge of applied data science and advanced analytics in different industries aimed to touch Industry 4.0. These live sessions are held every Friday with the response of one of the university professors, industrial managers, in the field of Industry 4 and digital transformation. Today, we will discuss the role of digitalization in decarbonizing mine sites. And this is my honor to talk with my guest, Dr. Samar Amari. Samar holds a Ph.D. in chemical and material engineering from the Queensland University of Technology in Australia. She is an expert in adopting innovative solutions to improve the mining value chain, focusing on carbon footprint analysis, energy audits, and decarbonization techniques in the mining sector. Welcome, Samar, and thanks for accepting my invitation to be with us today.
Thanks, Ali, for inviting me to speak today, and thank you for organizing this wonderful series of interviews. I'm learning a lot from them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So let's just start the first question. I was thinking about your background, but I think it would be better to have just a story from your side. What's the story that led you to your current role? What is your background?
Sure. I have a background in chemicals and materials engineering, but I can say that I am an applied researcher in the field of mining now. And I'm working on the adoption of new technologies and innovative methods to have a more sustainable and a more productive mining. The focus of my work is mostly on decarbonization techniques to reduce the carbon footprint and have zero emissions in minings, which is also the topic of our today's talk. I also work on energy evaluation and energy auditing to have a clear understanding of how much energy is being consumed through the mine value chain. And for the past few years, I've been focusing on mine digitalization and how to have a fully digitalized mine, which is, I think, one of the most innovative technologies that has been introduced to the mining sector.
Oh, that's great. I expect some keywords, in between your introduction, and I found that you are working and studying in an exciting area, digitalization, decarbonizing, mining, and I'm so excited because I can see, a very active people working in all of these areas together. Perfect. So you mentioned mining industry, and we know that, greenhouse gas emission, decarbonization, or something like that, that is important for all of industries. But let's do focus on mining. Why do you think decarbonization is important for mining industry?
Well, let me first briefly define decarbonization. Decarbonization simply means reducing carbon footprint, as in carbon dioxide and methane emissions, in order to reduce its impact on the climate. But about why we need decarbonization in mining and why it is important in this particular industry, actually, mining is considered as one of the major sectors that are negatively impacting climate change. And it is responsible for about up to 7% of the direct greenhouse gas emissions. And I think this is the main reason we need to focus on decarbonization in this sector. But apart from its share in the carbon emissions, which is significant, another factor that highlights the role of the mining industry in the decarbonization journey is the fact that mining is one of the key pillars of the national economy. And as a leader, it has authority, power, and also responsibilities in global movements like decarbonization. So far, several actions have been taken for the decarbonization and preventing further environmental impacts of carbon. One example is the ICMM commitment to the net zero for which all members of the International Council of Mining and Metals have committed to a target of net zero emissions by 2050. which was a great step toward climate change management. Because based on this commitment, mining players of all sizes, regardless of the size, small or large, are responsible to decarbonize their own operations and have net zero emissions. And by net zero, I mean achieving a balance between the amount of greenhouse gas emitted into atmosphere and the amount removed from it. This way, we would have an industry with zero emissions. Another action that is being actively taken to solve the carbon challenge is adopting novel technologies and tools. For example, so far, many mining companies are considering using green energy from renewable sources to provide their required energy. For example, um, other solutions are that are being tested by mining companies are replacing the diesel fuel in transport with alternatives such as biofuels, or using conveyors for transport, or optimizing the transportation routes, which can be really effective. Actually, the latter one, I mean, the optimizing the transportation routes, was tested by a mining company in 2021, implemented a pilot in route optimization, and it was tested for 50 trucks and reported a reduction of 1.5 tons of carbon dioxide, which is a substantial amount when it comes to decarbonization, and highlights the impact of technology in decarbonization progress. Other mining companies consider the diesel displacement plan in phases because of the project's high risks and high capitals. This gives them some flexibility and allows for more alternatives to be tested, and also allows rapid development of new technologies. These were just a few examples of the novel technologies that mining companies are focusing on to reduce carbon emissions, but I'm sure there are so many other solutions available now and are competing to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions.
Yeah, I see. So I have worked in the mining industry for more than 15 years now, and I had a chance to work with the big mining companies, same as BHP, Anglo American, Rio Tinto, and now Vale. I know that the greenhouse gas emission or carbon production is one of the key challenges that we are facing with it right now. But something has been changed recently after signing the agreement in Paris to reduce the carbon. All governments now force mining companies to think about how they can use new technology to reduce carbon. For example, in Valley, previously just we were working on whole truck fuel consumption, decrease the carbon in the mine sites. But after that, we had to work on locomotive and railway. And now we have a big program to reduce carbon in the ocean because Vale is transferring iron ore, for example, from Brazil to China. And every single year, we have more than 1,860 voyage. And all of these huge vessels transferring material from Brazil to China needs to consume a huge amount of diesel. And as you know, based on some global standards, the vessels can consume the very low quality diesel in the ocean. It means that this type of transferring is the main source of carbon production in mining sector. But now I believe that all companies actively think about how they can reduce carbon. And in all conferences that I attend right now, I can see many documents, presentations, and startups working in this area to follow up three things: zero injury, zero carbon, and zero injury. And you can see now we have a similar opportunity for carbon, same as the safety, because previously safety was the first priority for all companies, but now carbon has been located in a second rank, or has been ranked as the similar important topic for companies. That's great, but just to give the audience the rough estimation, is there rough estimation of carbon production in the world for companies? That's great, but production in the world's mine available?
Well, if I want to give you some rough numbers, the mining industry generates between 2 to 5 gigatons of direct carbon dioxide equivalent greenhouse gas emissions per year. The majority of emissions originate from fugitive coal bed methane that is released during coal mining, mainly at underground operations. And unfortunately, fugitive methane has a very high climate change impact. Even in some cases, the impact is greater than carbon dioxide. And it is because the emissions from coal mining will continue for several years, even after the closure of existing mines. Uh, Power consumption, on the other hand, is a major area in mining that greatly contributes to carbon dioxide emissions. This includes the energy that is used for grinding, which is significant, or for downstream processes like flotation or leaching. And all of these areas need to be optimized for lower carbon footprint. Just one thing to add, here we only focus on the direct carbon emissions from mining operations itself, which are considered scope 1 and scope 2 emissions. If we go further down the value chain, any any emissions are considered scope 3, which are the emissions from customers using products sold by mining companies such as the metal industry, or another example would be coal combustion for the power sector, with the emission amount of about 10 gigatons. But as I said, the focus of our work is on reducing the direct emissions from mining operations at the moment, and the technologies that can help us, assist us to reach this goal.
As you know, the scope of our conversation in this type of the interviews series is digital transformation. And we try to find how digital transformation or using AI or machine learning or any prediction approach can help us to reduce carbon. So let's do, as my first question is exactly related to this topic. How does digitalization make mining operations more efficient and help us to reduce carbon generation? I can remember you mentioned some use cases, but this is a general question. I want to have more information about the role of digitalization to reduce carbon.
Well, before we get into this, I want to add that mining companies have worked with automation for decades. But a smart digitalization, as it is now and as we know it now, has been introduced to this industry just a few years ago with the recent development in computer technology and artificial intelligence. I think digital transformation in mining is a real game changer, and it can be a key to have sustainable mining. Imagine having a fully digitalized mine site. In this structure, all systems are digitally connected to each other and are able to communicate with each other um, frequently. This can reduce the complexity of the operations and the processing, and it can provide the opportunity for real-time decision-making for managers to optimize their operations. A good example that comes to my mind about the impact of the fast decision-making ability is the lower
Mhm,
grades processing. Basically, lower grades in mining contain more waste rocks and consume more time and energy to excavate and process. But because at the moment we don't have an immediate decision-making tool, these grades are usually conveyed for processing along with other valuable grades. Lots of energy, time, and money can be saved by just directly sending the low-grade rocks into the waste stream if the right decision
mhm.
can be made on time, which I think it is also possible by employing smart digitalized tools. I
Mhm,
can give you another example where digitalization can facilitate mining operation, which is the maintenance processes for
mhm,
mining equipment, which is normally very costly and time consuming because of the frequency of this process. If you have more and better digital sensors that can be analyzed remotely, we won't need everyday maintenances because the real-time sensor um, allow managers to schedule for predictive maintenance of machineries
mhm,
for when exactly we need it. This way, everything can be monitored and possibly predicted, like the life of equipment and machinery, its performance, or even energy and resources usage can be optimized. And all of this means cost saving, better performance, and of course, lower carbon emissions. I
mhm.
think the right digital solution has the potential to support achieving the decarbonization targets in mining. And as I said before, digitalization can provide better integration between systems, like the integration of
Mhm.
web-based energy management platforms with operational platforms, which can help identify and predict the major energy consumables and the related emission rates. I believe a strategic decarbonization plan really relies heavily on digitalization.
Awesome, awesome. You mentioned a lot of examples, and also my understanding is that digital transformation can be a revolution to reduce carbon production in a mine site. But the question that I have for you, specifically for decarbonization, what's the mining industry's most significant area for using digital solution in this specific field? Because mm, we know that we have plenty of options and we can use digital
Mhm.
solutions everywhere. But specifically for this area, for reducing the carbon, what do you think about the most significant areas of growth for using digital solutions?
Well, it's really hard to pick one specific area in mining
Mhm,
for digital solution application because the mine development and the mine operations are all integrated and interact with one another. I think digital solutions can facilitate these interactions to have more optimized operations. But if I want to give you one example of an area that I feel digitalization would have a great impact on, it would be the operational costs in general. It's no surprise that mining costs is increasing every day because of the different reasons like the material costs, the labor costs, rising wages, and additional charges related to the regulatory requirements. So I
mhm,
think digital transformation can help reduce costs in all of these areas by making processes more efficient. For example, we can control costs on labor because digitally transformed mines are mines where the major assets are digitalized using fixed sensors that transmit data
mhm.
to a centralized location through a wireless network. So human workers are no longer needed to read the data manually on site. They would save money also on cable maintenance in this case, for example, because there is no need for expensive cabling to build the connections. And there is no doubt that there are so many other cost benefits in digital transformation. But in addition to the cost saving, using these wireless sensors to collect real-time data and as well as
Mhm.
using artificial intelligence technology in pre-existing mining operations at the same time allows managers and operators to optimize the major assets um, that are connected to the systems and let them link the daily operations to the objectives and goal of the company. And this way they can make the most out of the operations, which will reduce the costs generally.
Perfect, perfect. So yeah, recently the technology is, has been brought up dramatically. And now in all mining operations, we can see soft sensors, new connectivity technologies, and in many mining companies, we can see neuron centers or integrated remote operation control centers.
Mhm.
It means that the mining industry already uh, find that found that they need to collect the data from different equipment or different plants, gathering all of this information together in a data lake, for example, and analyzing the data, complete some hypothesis tests, and make benchmarking between different assets. And all of this improvement potentially can help us to improve energy efficiency and reduce carbon. So you in between your answers, you mentioned many different types of use cases of the digital solutions to reduce carbon. But can you give us one example, of how the digital approach can practically, solve the carbon generation
Mhm.
challenge in mining?
Well, apart from all indirect ways that digitalization can help the carbon reduction in mining that I mentioned before, such as the optimization of operations, I think mine digitalization can also directly and practically help the carbon reduction. And a good example of this is using smart energy management systems in mining.
Mm-hmm.
I think an inclusive energy assessment is the first step toward the decarbonization of mine sites. And the main goal of this for the mine and metal industry is to fully understand the energy consumption rates through the mine value chain, and also to improve the energy efficiency that is directly connected to the carbon emissions. But how exactly does it work, and how energy management will help carbon reduction? To answer this question, we first need to know that an advanced energy analysis first identifies the major energy consumers across the mine site, and then measures the emission levels of each one. This assessment can help mining companies to regulate their energy use and minimize their carbon release. But energy
Mm-hmm.
auditing in the mining, as you know, is relatively expensive and has never been well defined like other sectors. And it's because of the high level of complexity and the larger scale of operations and processing in mining. Uh, I think the high awareness level about the value of energy result in actually mining companies are now investing in using digitalization because of the awareness that they have to create a progressive energy profile and turning the uncontrollable features like energy and carbon footprint into something measurable and predictable, which is very valuable for them. Uh, and I think because mine sites that are equipped with intelligent energy management systems are able to collect data from all sorts of sensors throughout the mining sites. And then the artificial intelligence algorithms process the data, and these algorithms learn over time to optimize energy efficiency. So it would be really valuable. Uh, for a digitalized mine site, every individual piece of equipment is fitted with its own sensors and smart switches, which allows the a smart energy management system to tailor energy consumption to the exact needs of the workers within a specific equipment or zone of the site, and switch devices off automatically when tools are unused.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in addition to this, smart energy management systems are also can predict peaks in energy consumption to allow companies to take appropriate precautions when needed. I personally believe the impacts of such systems can be significant in energy
Mm-hmm.
saving and carbon emission control for the mine and metal industries.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So we know that the key point here is innovation, because we know that digital solutions, the big tool for us, is very robust, strong solution. But we need to brainstorming sessions, having innovation, to find how we can use this key to open the huge lock that we have, for example, for reduce the carbon. Uh, my next question is focused on innovation. What are some of the new digital technology or innovations that you are particularly excited about?
Well, there are a lot of interesting stuff going on the world of digitalization right now.
Actually.
Yeah, but I'm personally very excited about digital twin simulations. And I feel they
Ah,
will soon become the single most impactful piece of technology, not only in mining, but also other industries and sectors. About what exactly is digital twinning? A digital twin is a digital copy of a physical asset or process which
mhm,
is simulated using real world data that are collected from embedded sensors. Digital twin shows various insights without interrupting the real world operations and allow operators to visualize and remotely control the operations from anywhere. But digital twinning is not only about visualizing mine sites, and it's not the
mhm,
novelty of this piece of technology. The digital model is built based on its physical one, and they are connected together, which means that the physical twin can be controlled using its digital twin platform. So we can have a full remote control of machinery and equipment, and there are countless benefits in that because it is connected to the physical process. It is able to collect information from all over the mine site and systems such as fluid management systems, and integrates all sort of data to create a full mine model, which we can use it as an analytical decision-making tool and prevent unnecessary capital costs. Or we can use it and test different scenarios before starting an operation and save so much time and money on that.
mhm,
Another very interesting use of digital twin in mining is decarbonization.
mhm,
And as I told you before, the main issue of decarbonization is directly related to better use of energy in mining and better asset performance as well. Digital twin models can track, manage, and minimize energy consumption and carbon emissions. Actually, in one case study that was done to evaluate the performance of digital twin systems, they found that digital twins can help energy efficiency and carbon footprint reduction by up to 50%, with cost saving of about 35%. So we can say
mhm.
that an effective and low-cost decarbonization is actually possible by using digital twin systems, and it can be the right solution for the carbon challenge.
Mm, perfect. Yeah, I'm a fan of digital twin as well, but you explained in details how digital twin can help us to reduce carbon because digital twin, I believe that it's a tool, it's the approach for us to improve the maturity of advanced analytics. Because when we speak about advanced analytics, we have different steps of maturity. The first step, for example, is just making reports or visualization. But visualization, it's not the destination that we are looking for that when we are speaking about the digital revolution in mining. Definitely, you want to have predictions model to predict what will be happening in the close future and in the long term future, something like that. And also, we need to go through the optimization and later making intelligent decisions. So through this improvement, digital twin can potentially help us a lot. And using the digital twin and having this concept in mining is growing very fast. And yeah, you explained, how digital twin can help us to reduce carbon. It's exciting, topic for me as well. So, Samar, you know that as an old industry, okay, or as a traditional industry, uh, mining executive managers uh, previously just thought about how they can improve the margin of their benefit, and financial achievement was the encouraging tool for them to encourage them to invest in different projects. But I believe that something has been changed recently, and mining companies need to think about more encouraging points, okay, to start the new initiatives. What do you think about this topic? What benefits have you seen in mining companies encouraging them to invest in digital transformation, having the responsible mining, and especially when we are speaking about environment or speaking about the carbon generation?
Well, I think the mining industry, just like any other industries, need to succeed in today's commercial field. And for this, they need to invest in developing technologies and digital solutions to have a more profitable and sustainable business, and also to secure a safe and sustainable future for itself. In particular, I think data management plays a significant role in
Mhm.
mining, and it is worth the investment. The real benefit of data generation uh, is to optimize the data for analysis that can actually drive the business forward. And without this, data collection is kind of pointless. Digital transformation creates a system for gathering the right data and analyze it for business intelligence at a higher level. It can translate raw data into insights and can produce a single view of everything, like the operations, production, finance, and even business opportunities. It can all appear in one single view and ease the manual and complicated data analysis. But apart from data management, which is, I think, the main step toward full digitalization, another key driver to invest in digital transformation can be the operational efficiency, which focuses on reducing the impact of numerous variables and relies only on a smart technology to identify trends and make in-time decisions. This means that managers can get more meaningful insights to direct the planning of mining activities in the future by just looking at the analyzed data that is communicated between the machinery and the data that is coming from the mining process. The impact of this system on the operational efficiency would be significant, in my opinion. And another area that mining companies are investing in a lot is definitely decarbonization, for which advanced digitalized platforms can come in handy, and it can give them good understanding of their carbon footprint. It can identify and monitor the carbon emissions and provide immediate and practical solutions to control the generated carbon.
Mm, beautiful. Yeah, we talk a lot about the benefit of using digital solutions for energy efficiency improvement or reduce carbon, etc. Okay, so it's the dream world for us, but we know that we are facing with the many different types of technical and management challenges, etc. My last question, honestly, in this is speaking, is about what challenges are mining companies facing using digital solutions to improve energy efficiency and reduce carbon emissions.
Well, that's an interesting question. We know that digitalization is not a new concept. The idea has been initiated about a decade ago, and a lot has been done so far. But there is still a long way to have a full digitalized mine, and I think
Mhm,
there are several challenges that need to be overcome. The first challenge, in my opinion, is that there is no universal definition of digital transformation that can apply to every single process of digital transformation. The process looks different in every company, which makes it a little bit confusing. Another factor that I find it as a barrier to digital transformation in mining is that there is no firm strategy and no clear roadmap to it, meaning that each company have to create its own plan, which can be very challenging, especially for the decarbonization applications. Um, there are also some concerns about privacy and cybersecurity when it comes to
mhm.
adopting digital solutions for data sensitive industries such as mining. I think these concerns are reasonable because digital transformation involves moving data to the cloud system. Also, most likely, all of the data will be integrated into a centralized system, creating a single source of truth and removing blind spots in decision making. Some companies may not want everyone to have access to all sort of the data that the organization has. And in addition to this, the data security is recognized as one of the top concerns for companies, and the reason they are not welcoming digital transformation because the threat of cyber attacks are getting more serious than before. But in spite of all the challenges and concerns, I am certain that the digital transformation is going to change the future of mining and many other industries as well. It has a dynamic progress. It might be slow at the moment, but it has a dynamic progress, and it's changing for a better based on the needs of the market and also the regulations.
Awesome, awesome. I think that this interview was one of the best interviews that I had, and I really like to thank you so much. You gave us very, good points of using digital transformation, especially to reduce carbon generation in mining industry. So at the end of this interview, once again, I need to take this opportunity to thank you so much, Samar. And also thanks all the participants in the live session. And the recorded version of this program will be available on our YouTube channel and other ritual pages on different social platforms. Thanks to all of you, and hope you have benefited from the discussed topics, and hope to see you again at the following event. Thank you so much, Samar. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.